Hello there, my fandom friends. My name is Jenna, and welcome to my channel. Today, I will be discussing my thoughts about Cad Bane's supposed death. The big question that Star Wars fans have been pondering and speculating about is, did Cad Bane actually die? There are 7 reasons why I think Cad Bane is still alive, and I'd like to share them here. Number 1. Star Wars has a history of faking character deaths. Time and time again, more recently, we have seen Star Wars characters die and then come back to life sometime later after having a miracle of a recovery. We have seen this with Darth Maul, Darth Vader, Palpatine, Ahsoka, Fennec Shand, Boba Fett himself, and even potentially Mace, if the rumors about him still being alive are truthful. The list goes on and on. So why should Cad Bane's supposed death be any different? Since this is a running theme in Star Wars, deaths of characters have become very confusing and speculatory, which is why I, and probably many others, are questioning his death. Especially since we have seen characters remain alive after being cut in half, being burned in lava, blasted in the stomach, and many other terrible things that seem worse than being stabbed in the chest, like Cad Bane was. Number 2. Cad Bane's notorious weapons and tools. Cad Bane is known for many of his unique weapons and tools that help him against his opponents. He has blasters, which he uses his insanely fast hands to shoot with. Many of his tools come from a quick command at his forearm gauntlet. Things like his flamethrowers on his wrists, knockout gas, wrist projectiles, and even his rocket boots are activated by the controls on his arms. His rocket boots, which I wish we could have seen in live action, served him well in almost every episode of Clone Wars and the Bad Batch that he was in. He also even used his forearm gauntlets to control his environment, like the gravity in one of the Clone Wars episodes, or activating the airlock that would have sucked Ahsoka out to space. Cad Bane also uses electric gauntlets that can knock out or even kill somebody, like he used against Ahsoka and Obi-Wan during the Clone Wars. Another small but very effective tool he uses is the rope with what I'm guessing are heavy balls on each end. These are used to tangle and trip up opponents like Voss in the Clone Wars. I'm not exactly sure what these are called, but they are very capable against his enemies. Number 3. How Cad Bane has survived worse in the past. One thing that distinguishes Cad Bane from other characters is how indestructible he has tried to make himself. Not only did he have all the weapons and tools that I talked about previously, but he also made modifications to his own body to help protect himself, especially from Jedi, whom he hated. His most notable one being his cybernetic breathing tubes. The tubes not only helped him breathe in harsh environments like space, but they also were designed to block a force choke. If he were to be choked, he would still have the ability to breathe through the tubes, since the tubes connect to his mouth and to the pack on his back that connects to his lungs. Not only have his breathing tubes saved him on countless missions, he has also potentially survived a blast to the head. There was an unreleased episode of the Clone Wars where Boba and Cad had a face-off. It ended with both of them getting shot in the head by each other. Boba survived because he was wearing his helmet, leaving only a dent behind. How Cad Bane survived the blaster shot to the head is unknown to me still, but he did if that scene was canon. And it seems to be, because in the Bad Batch and in the Book of Boba Fett, we can see Cad Bane has what looks like a piece of armor over half of his head where he was blasted by Boba. This makes me believe that that showdown between the two of them wasn't just an unaired episode, but actually happened. If Cad Bane can survive getting shot with a blaster in the head, I would think he could survive getting stabbed in the chest as well. And if you're curious, this unreleased scene can be found on YouTube. Number 4. The blinking on his chest. After Cad Bane is stabbed with the gaffy stick, the device on his chest starts blinking. I'm not 100% sure what this could mean, but I'm thinking it might have something to do with his tubes or a communication call for help. Knowing Cad Bane has multiple tools that help him survive, and if the inside of his body was messed up from the stab wound, maybe the blinking was a warning that his body was compromised. However, I'm leaning more on the side of the blinking being a communication to somebody. Maybe Cad Bane was signaling to somebody that he was in trouble and needed help, which leads me to my next point. Number 5. Toto 360. If you're unfamiliar with Toto 360, Toto was a techno-service droid that helped Cad Bane with his missions throughout the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch.
I am a techno-service droid, not a butler droid.
Damn it, Toto. You are what I say you are.
Toto appeared in multiple episodes and always faithfully served Cad Bane. I'd love it if Cad Bane's blinking chest meant that he was signaling Toto back at his ship, which we've seen Toto wait at before in past missions. I think this would also make a lot of sense, plus it would seem a bit odd if Toto never made an appearance since Cad Bane and the droid were almost always together. Number 6. Questioning Cad Bane's overconfidence. My question for this reason is, why was Cad Bane acting so confident if he fully knew Boba was in Beskar armor and he had nothing? I know overconfidence was a trait he had in the Clone Wars as well, but in that situation it just seemed too reckless, especially since he was pushing Boba over and over again to fight him.
Let's do this. Right here. Right now. I'm still faster than you.
But I have armor.
Let's find out.
I rewatched all the episodes of the Clone Wars that Cad Bane was in and came across this quote from Season 2, Episode 2, Cargo of Doom, that I thought was interesting, whether intentional for this scene or not. It says, "Overconfidence is the most dangerous form of carelessness." Maybe Cad Bane was being so overconfident because he had some secret that could help him survive if things didn't go his way, like some kind of armor or other protection under his shirt and jacket where he was stabbed. His overconfidence just seemed too reckless, like the quote says, to egg on the fight like he did if he had nothing to save him if things went wrong. Number 7, Dave Filoni. I have heard that Dave Filoni loves Cad Bane, and of course he was a huge part of creating and developing this character in the Clone Wars. Dave Filoni directed From the Desert Comes a Stranger, which makes sense because that's when Cad Bane was introduced to fans in live action. It seems strange to me that somebody else directed the episode that Cad Bane supposedly died in. I would think Dave Filoni would have wanted to direct that since he has spent so many years working on the character, and knowing how much Dave Filoni values Cad Bane. In conclusion, those are all of my thoughts and reasonings behind why I think Cad Bane is still alive. I also wanted to mention that if he is dead, I understand why they killed him off. 1, because Cad Bane is so old by this point in the timeline, and 2, because it makes sense with Boba Fett's arc throughout the show and his past connections to Cad Bane being his mentor in the past. I still believe if Cad Bane actually died, it was way too fast. The scene itself, and because Cad Bane had only been in 2 live action episodes, I would think after working really hard on making his live appearance look awesome, they'd want to show it off more. Plus, that's something fans would love to see more of, I'm sure. If you agree, disagree, or have any more thoughts on if Cad Bane survived or not, please let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you. So for now, I hope you have a magical day, and I bid you all a very fond farewell.
Senators, Jedi, I bid you all a most respectful farewell.